Well, good afternoon, folks. This is Dr. Michael Moon, and I am here with the CRG, and we are out to discuss today about the 150th anniversary of the Civil War coming into Henry County from the March to the Sea, which is be this week. And on that time, the Union Army left Atlanta in two wings. The left wing went by way of Conyers and Covington, and that's the wing that General Sherman went with. The right wing was Oliver Howard's wing, and they came through by way of the south side, coming through toward McDonough. And they had to come through Old Stockbridge, and to get here, they made good time the first day on November the 15th, 1864. They made good time then. They went all the way to the Old Stockbridge site where they met the Orphan Brigade, which was set up to the northwest of Old Stockbridge. Now, Old Stockbridge at the time was on Stagecoach Road at the Cotton Indian Creek. Now, that's where the Concord Cemetery is. A lot of Civil War soldiers are buried there. Now, the action began the next day too, but on the 15th, just about 1 mile to the north of where I'm sitting here, were the advance guard of the 17th Corps of General Francis Blair's men. Now, where I'm sitting here, I'm sitting in what they called a rifle pit. Now, this was dug before, of course, before the advance of that, but this was done a few months before by the Confederate soldiers, because General Wheeler of the Confederate Army left orders and had set up orders to set up people along the roads to the south and to the east of Atlanta, because they knew that whenever the Union Army moved out towards Savannah, that they had to come this way. So they wanted men to be here along in different positions to give them, to slow them down. They knew they couldn't overtake them, but they could slow them down, give them a hard time. Now, in this position here, we've discovered in the CRG that along the roadways in different areas, there's cemeteries. And if you'll go to these cemeteries, the old cemeteries, you will find setups like this. It was like a staging point that they knew about where they were going to be. If you will look just to the north of where I'm sitting, just right over here, there is a small cemetery. The old Flat Rock Road used to run about 50 feet from where I'm sitting here across this area to the south. And it went from Flat Rock, which was on the South River, all the way to McDonough at the time. Now, this is the Sims Family Cemetery. That's going to be another tutorial for another day. But today, though, this rifle pit was dug. There's one right over there to the west of it. On the other side of where the old Flat Rock Road was, there was some more. Now, the 2nd Army, the Georgia 2nd, was here. And there were, when the Union Army came over the hill, which is a hill here, as they came over the hill, they met this small detachment here. There was a skirmish here. And then these men retreated to the south to the Little Cotton Indian Creek, where the bridge of the Flat Rock Road was set up, and they had cannon set up there. Now today, of course, that is part of the Clayton County Reservoir. But in this particular area where I'm sitting, I have been researching this area through here for the last 38 years. My dad found the first artifacts here in 1976 when he was plowing his garden. And then we started finding human remains. We started finding that was turned over to the state. Then we started finding, all types of artifacts here. And you could tell that there was a nice little skirmish here. Now, of course, probably some people on each side died. Don't know exactly how many, for sure. I've read some reports where they say 4 Confederate people died. As much as a dozen of the Union died. Of course, there was some wounded. All right, then this skirmish, then as they retreated, went on to the Little Cotton Indian Creek. And at the Little Cotton Indian Creek, they had, like I said, a set up there with the cannon. Now, as I'll show you here on this map that I drew, if you can see it, this is where Old Stockbridge was, up on the Big Cotton Indian up here. Then you had Brush Creek that comes through where the Stockbridge is today, and it worked its way around over to the point right here where it joins with the Big Cotton Indian, just about 1 mile to the north of here. This is where they camped that night along the Flat Rock Road. What they had done, they was starting into Old Stockbridge. They had a pretty good contingent of Confederate men there at that area, and they did a detour up towards Shake Rag and then back down around. Then on the 16th, they met them here. Of course, they had to set up over here at White House. They never made it over there. On down to, this is the old Decatur Road, which is Highway 155 today. Then they had right here where the cannon were. Now, those cannon were removed from here in 1945. This property belonged to the Sweeney family, and those people had those cannon removed from there then. There was a lot of archaeological work done here at that time, especially with Franklin Garrett and Wilbur Kurtz from the Atlanta Historical Society. And this area through here today is a lake. This is the part of the reservoir for the Clayton County Reservoir. Then, as they moved on further south here, this was the cemetery here of Judge Glass, Frederick Glass. There's 2 nice rifle pits and a little trench line there. This is a nice little setup they had. Of course, this would slow them down also. Now, here's the point I'm trying to make. On the 15th, they traveled from Atlanta at Whitehall all the way to a point here, which is about roughly 15 to 16 miles. The next day, they could only go to Walnut Creek, a distance of only 5 to 6 miles. So these little spots slowed this army down in a major way. And this is what happened here 150 years ago. These people had a will to protect their land. Of course, they know that they were overwhelmed by the size of that army. We're talking about roughly 25,000 men passing through here, and they pillaged, took, destroyed, stole, raped, you name it, the land is just taken. And it left it a barren place. So this is a time to remember here in Henry County and in Stockbridge, because this is an important area, an important site, and we just wanted to bring it to your attention and to let you know that what happened here 150 years ago. So for me and Alfred Britt of the CRG, I'd like to thank you for listening today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.